Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Necrescent again, as always, and this is another load order test. This is the third, and it should be the last. I've already come in game on two different occasions. I ran around for a good 30 to 45 minutes each time. Everything ran smooth, no problems, no crashing. Everything looks really good. So this should be the last one. I believe the load order is set. So we're going to run around and different parts of Skyrim. We're going to see how things look. We're going to talk about some of the mods. There have been a few little mod changes. We'll talk about those, talk about some of the other impactful mods, and we'll talk about some of the things I've had to tweak in my own mods to get them ready for the Let's Play. So, first thing you may notice right off the bat is the lighting out here is a little bit different. I have installed EVLAS, which I believe stands for Enhanced Volumetric Lighting and Shadow. And this is why you can see, since it's early in the morning and the sun's coming up over there, you can see this side of the trees being illuminated by the rising sun. And the back side of these trees are in shadow. And that will change through the course of the day as the sun moves across the sky. It's pretty interesting. If you have not looked into this, the way I would describe this mod, first of all, I'll say thanks to Arizona Viking, and I think Nikoroshi even talked about this, and they seemed pretty adamant about this. They seemed pretty high on this mod, so I thought, you know, they're seem to really like this one. Maybe I should take a look at it. So that was a late addition. And I tell you, you don't realize how much you miss this mod if you've never used it. Because once you put it in there, the game world right now, as you can see, again, the fronts of these trees are lit up. They're casting shadows behind it. Well, a little bit. The whole game world looks far more natural and realistic. It's the difference is amazing, and it's not something that just jumps out and grabs you. What you notice is that things look more natural and realistic. I can't think of a better way to describe it. So that is probably the biggest change. As far as the water goes, this is realistic water too. This is the most recent version, which does not include a watercolor option. What it does is there's files available, and they explain the process of taking one of those files and creating your own watercolor. I was reading into that. It looked a little complicated, and after a bit I said, no thanks. Now I did consider putting in the old realistic water too. In fact, I still might, but I mean right now everything's fine. I like the watercolor, although the game world looks pretty natural right now, and to put in a watercolor like the fantasy blue that I planned on using, it would make me feel a little hypocritical, I guess, because the game world looks really nice and really natural right now, and that obviously that watercolor option just doesn't. Okay, as far as the mountains go, this is a little confusing, so I'll try to explain it in a way that makes sense. This is Granite Mountains, and Granite Mountains has a 2K, 4K, and 8K version. And there's also a Majestic Mountains version. So if you're wondering why is there a Majestic Mountains version of a different mountain mod, it's so that you can run those two mods together, and the mountain textures like we see right here in the image will be from Granite Mountains, but the LODs will be those provided by Majestic Mountains. And initially that's what I had in here. However, that version of Granite Mountains is a 4K, and I looked at the 4K, I looked at the 8K. I really like the look of the 8K, so I went with that, and no Majestic Mountains. So the LODs, the mountains in the distance, are still going to be vanilla. This is the tan version, by the way, if you're interested in Granite Mountains. There is a light gray, a tan, and a dark version. And this doesn't look very tan, but I think some of that has to do with my weather, my ENB, and EVLAS. And speaking of weather and ENB, is this still Mythical ENB and Mythical Ages weathers? I liked what Raid Weathers did, but it made the graphics look a little too soft for me, and this is a little bit clearer. So let's head down the road a little bit. Happy little trees again. And this is a vanilla tree replacer. It does not add trees, but I do have a mod that does. I think I mentioned that before. Trees add-on. It's a dog-eat-dog world. Are you gonna howl like the other dog? Why not? So we're gonna head down here into Fall Creek a little bit, then we'll make our way out towards Markarth and maybe up north, and we'll look at the graphics in a few different parts of Skyrim. We'll check out a few interiors just to see how the lighting is, and that'll be it. And this is Granite Mountains again. This was kind of a tough decision because Holy Mountains look really good too, and I was kind of back and forth with them. And I like this one being a slightly more rugged look to it, and it reminded me somewhat of Red Rocks 4K, which has been one of my most favorite mods of all time. Go away! So it was difficult to not put in Red Rocks 4K because I really, really, really like that mod. But again, this is 8K. Alright, what else? Cathedral 3D Pine Grass. That changes the grass texture in the pine forest area only. It does not affect the whole map. And it's grass fields in other areas. We'll get a look at that in a little bit. And there's a trees add-on tree down there, and I think this one right here is from trees add-on. Very nice mod. Works nicely along any vanilla tree replacer. Actually, let's just go this way. Do we want to go this way? No, let's go this way. I'm so indecisive. Maybe. I don't know. Alright, so some of the things I've been doing aside from these adding these mods. Oh, wait, we got to talk about Dindalod. Wow, that was a complicated process there. So I have Dindalod 3 running in the Flights of Skyrim videos, and I talked about that before, having a few crashes, but I was like, you know, I mean, it might be something else. Let's give it a try. And for whatever reason, when I tried to run it, it did not create the output folder, which you need because you need to take that information and put it in your load order. That's essentially the mod you need to activate. If it doesn't produce that output folder, then you've accomplished nothing. And it would not do that. Yeah, I get that a lot. In case you're wondering why these guys went down so easy from this flame spell, that is from a mod. Another one of mine. I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, back to Dindalod. So for whatever reason, I could not get that to work. And then when I tried even to run the program, it was telling me that TextGen was basically broken and not working. So I don't know what was going on. There was nothing in the load order that should have caused a problem. And I went to the mod page. I read up on a lot of stuff, and I tried to figure out what was going on, but I got nowhere. So I decided to try. Let's see. We got plenty of forest coming up here. I just want to see what everything looks like in here. It's a really great tree mod. So anyway, I decided to try the old version of Dying a Lot. I reinstalled it, and I went through the process. The whole process went like clockwork. Everything worked normally. Squeeze me? You just diseased me, fat bastard. Let's see. How do you feel about the Curse of Red Mountain? Get over here. Yeah, that's what I thought she was going to do. So anyway, this is the older version of Dying a Lot. The process went smoothly. Everything went and ran accordingly as it should, and everything seems to be working fine. So I don't know what happened with the Dying a Lot 3, but I'm going to chalk it up to probably a user error somewhere along the way. You didn't hear me say that, though. Watch where you're pointing at. So I have 6 mods in my loader right now that are mine. And this being one of them. We've looked at this before. My house mod, Lakeshore Cabin. And we saw Emberwood Bar in the beginning. And I've got a Destruction Spell mod. Let's see. Do we need to see any more Falkreath, or should we move on? You know what? Let's move over to the Whiterun Tundra. Well, I was going to wait for the rain to stop, but it's not that bad of a rainstorm. If it's one of those really heavy downpours, then I'll change it, or I'll wait till it clears up. But I have another mod in right now. I do not think it was in last time. It is called Darker Distant Terrain. And if you look in the distance, we've got dark green grass as far as you can see. So we don't have that same problem we had before where... We don't have that same problem before where there is brown grass beyond the draw distance. I don't know why I'm picking a fight with these guys. I just want to test out my summonses one more time. I had to do a little bit of work on this Conjuration mod. The summonses were working fine, but there were some little things that had to be done with it. Uh-oh. So much for 500 health, huh? You're not looking too good, man. See what I mean? Tried to tell you. You see how the grass is being lit up from the spells? That's going to make playing stealthy a little more difficult. But that is okay. That's part of the challenge. Anyhow, Darker Distant LOD. And this is by the same mod author that makes the weather mod and the ENB. This is Arundel's. And the way he describes it, this is a... it just applies noise Tamrielic textures for the ground textures, and I have the green dirt cliff option, as you can see, so we don't have patches of brown all over the Whiterun tundra. Now, if it wasn't overcast and raining... Wait, I'm going east? I don't want to go east, I want to go west. We're going to head to Markarth. If it wasn't overcast, then we could probably see the illumination from the setting sun. But that is okay. So the Conjuration mod, I had to do a number of things with that one. Alright, early morning. I just picked a spot not too far from Markarth. It's another mod, Skyrim bridges. This is pretty cool. Changes most, not all, but changes most of the bridges in Skyrim. Some of them are really nice. The one out by Windhelm, we'll get a look at that one. I think that's one of the nicest looking ones. But early in the morning, I wanted to see what things look like out here in the Reach. We'll head up north, we'll check out what the coast looks like. The Rift, of course. Alright, so with the Conjuration mod, the summonses were all working. They were working fine. What I needed to do was to go in and make sure that the cast cost is appropriate, and also the skill use multiplier. And I don't know if you know what that is. I didn't know until I got in a creation kit and tried making spells. But there is something in there called a skill use multiplier. And that's on the spell's magic effect screens. Every spell has at least one magic effect. Let's see, who can we summon next? See, we haven't used Incinerator in a while. Not really planning on going into Markarth right now. Pretty cool bridge, huh? Yeah, I recognize that log. I built my house from those. Let's just head up the road a little bit. So when it comes to the cast cost for a particular spell, there's a formula that takes into account things like the potency of the spell, the duration, and there's also another number that goes on the magic effect screen, and it's called the base cost. So the first two things, you can set them for you're creating your own spells. You can set the damage and duration all you want, but the formula you don't really have any effect on that. But you can change that with the base cost. So when I'm looking at these, there's another way you can do that on the spell screen. Still one more up there? Yeah, he's coming. Let's try kilowatt. Which way do we want to go? Let's go this way. And then we're going to have to make our way up north. But I just wanted to get a good look at the Reach. So in order for the cast cost to be correct, I have to go in and adjust that base cost. And what I did was I looked at the existing conjuration spells and what the base cost for that was to get mine where it is. And you can, if you want, on the spell screen, you can do it manually. You can. There's a little box for auto calculate. You check that and the game will auto calculate it. Or you can uncheck it and put that in manually, but I think the more correct way is to let the game auto-calculate it so it takes all factors into account. And the base cost is one of those. And there's reasons for it. It's really strange, but anyway, I had to go in and adjust all of those for every summons in the mod. And then there's the skill use multiplier. And the skill use multiplier is exactly what it says. It's the number of times you use that spell before you get a skill increase. And, you know, they're apprentice level spells usually are at 1.0. Now, you may have noticed in the past that destruction is one of those skills that levels up very, very slowly. That's because it has its skill use multiplier is usually about half, or it's at least it's lower than everybody else, every other skill. Well, we're not all the way up north. This is Morthal, of course.
How are we supposed to feel safe in our own homes?
Please, enough of it.
I figure we should check out the swamp while we're here.
Staying safe, I hope.
Me?
Do you need
Oh,
any
hell
hunting
yeah.
supplies? I'll do my best to provide them, assuming I haven't used them all up.
That's alright, I'll just steal them from you when you're sleeping. I mean, I'll be right over. So yeah, there's a skill use multiplier, and that number's always lower with the destruction spells, which is why that one seems to be a very difficult skill to increase, in case you were wondering. Because everybody talks about that. Why is it so slow to level up destruction? Well, that's why. It's because the skill use multiplier in the magic effect screen. So mine for the Conjuration mod are set. They're equivalent to what the vanilla Conjuration mods are. Oh, the swamp looks pretty nice right now. I think I've got another mod being built. Go away, kid. Let's try, let's see. Electron beam. Shake things up a little. Yeah, I've got another mod that's building something right here. Fort Snake. I'll probably never get around to finishing it, but you never know. This is another mod right here. There's actually two mods right here. This one is, oh, it's a Deathbell mod. Let me put it on screen because I can't remember it, but this is one by Fading Signal, which is really cool. And the glowing effect is from one of Rudy's. It makes the Deathbell glow and Nirnroot. I've got several of Rudy's mods that do that. This is one of them. You need an ENB for that, by the way. So one other thing that I needed to do with the mod was to make... Alright, I heard something. Let's see, what do we want? You know, we got the same conjurable. Ooh, 3 of them. Whoops. I thought he was attacking you, dude. I really did. Well, that's funny seeing that bright green tree in the middle of all this dead stuff. Yeah, one of the other things I started to do was to make the Conjuration mods compatible with the Elemental Potency perk. Because that doesn't come by itself. That's something you have to do. Talking to me? We haven't checked any interiors yet. Let's pop in here real quick. Yeah, I meant to go to the inn in Morthal.
Fire, frost, or lightning, you will by my hand.
Sovngarde awaits you. Oh!
It's a strange frost effect there. Otherwise, graphics look pretty nice. So what I've done so far, let me show you this real quick. If you come over here to ENV effect, scroll down a little bit. Interior settings, brightness is 1.15. The default is 1.0. So I have increased the brightness, interior brightness, because the enhancer is fairly dark. Let's venture down a little bit lower. Wait a minute. Where's the time? Oh, this is blocked off. That's right. I heard voices though. Yeah, this is another one of those that you can't get down in there until you get to a certain place in the quest line. Ah, that's fine. I thought I heard voices down there. Alright, we'll check out some of the snowy region a little bit more. Just want to get up and see what the coastline looks like. So I'm looking at elemental potency. I need to make that perk applicable to the conjuration spells. And the way you do that is you add a condition to the magic effect. And the condition is pretty simple. If you have this perk, then you get the potent version of that conjuration spell. But what that means is you have to have a second actor. So for every conjuration spell, you have two actors, not just one. You have the regular one, and then you have the potent version. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the vanilla stuff to see, you know, it says it's 50% more powerful. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean exactly? 50% more health, 50% more magicka, more stamina. What exactly does that mean? And I'm looking at the flame atronach, the frost atronach, the storm atronach. And the 50% is, well, it varies. It's like the storm atronach, the only thing that was changed was it went from a level 16 to a level 24. The potent one is a level 24. Now, of course, when you increase the level, their stats are going to change, but the stats weren't changed by themselves. However, the flame atronach only went up a few levels, not 8 levels. It wasn't a 50% increase. Excuse me, the frost atronach went up 8 levels. It went from 16 to 24. The storm atronach, I think, went from 30 to 35. So I was having trouble figuring out where the 50% was applied. So I decided to go and check the Dremora Lord. And there is no potent Dremora Lord. And I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm like, it's got to be in here somewhere. But no, there isn't one. And I thought, well, that's strange. Why isn't there a potent level Dremora Lord? Well, if you go back and read that text, the text for that perk again, it said conjured atronachs, not conjured minions or summonses. It specifically says atronachs. So I look at my summonses in this conjuration mod, and none of them are atronachs, so I didn't make any potent versions.
All right, hand over your valuables, or I'll gut you like a fish.
Never should have come here. That's the best you can do.
Yeah. Stupid thief. Should have been expecting that. Alright, where should we head to now? We're already about 30-some minutes into this one. Let's check out the volcanic area. Good old Kynes Grove. Let's check the lighting in here real quick, and then we'll head down the road. Yeah, this looks pretty good. This looks real good. By the way, there is a newer version of ELFX Shadows. So, that's the one I installed. It is very recent. It's just an update, I guess. But it was more recent than the one I had in here before. Nice. Very nice. Alright, let's head down the road a little bit. We going the right direction? Yeah. I'm known to go the opposite direction at times. Let's try a different conjurable this time. Here. SCB. You get a shout out if you can figure out what SCB stands for. I'll show you what that is next time we meet a hostile. Oh, I do love the foggy mornings. Man, oh man. A little bit of light flicker right there. It's probably more my system than anything. The version of Mythical E&B that I have in is not the most recent version. I didn't like the way the most recent version made fire look, so I put the old one in. There is a downside to doing that though, and I'll show you that at the next interior we go to. Yeah, I like the fact that you can one-shot that, but it took you like half an hour to get there. I'm still diseased, you know. Did you want me to get diseased again? This is S... Oh, I got the initials wrong. I got SBC. It's supposed to be SCB. One more thing to fix. He's an adept summons. He's got like 400 health, I think. Maybe 450. Probably a little more health than a Frost Atronach. But he doesn't have any armor. But he's pretty aggressive and he hits like a tank, so... He will wander around through some of the volcanic area, and then we'll head down to the rift. See, the screen goes dark whenever I do that or use a flame spell. There's a way to disable that, and I think it's one of the adaptation features in the E&B, and I can't remember which one, so... So I'm kind of stuck with it for right now. I'll keep poking around. I'll figure it out, but I don't remember which one it is now. And I put the E&B back in. I was like, oh man. It is one foggy morning, which is fine with me. I love the fog. Did I mention that before? I'm not sure I have. I'm just kidding. I really do like the way the game world is looking, though. I'm going the wrong direction. I'm trying to get to, I was trying to get over to Darkwater Crossing. Not that there's a whole hell of a lot to do there, but you know. There's more of that early morning light coming in from the east. I tell you, the whole game world just looks more alive, you know? Immersive. I like immersive mods. So I think I'm sitting at 128 mods right now. Now a couple of those are the billboards for the tree mods. So Dynalod can generate the LODs.